Hello, welcome to CarCast. I'm Matt, the moderator, Deandra here with Bill Goldberg. How are you? Well, there
This
you
right
go.
here,
That's a
this
big
right
knife.
here. You see this right here?
Yeah.
There is a parallel, right? This was one of the gifts I was given uh, at Bristol, for doing the driver introductions, the Trojan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Such a huge hunting knife. That's
I, I
because,
I feel like chopping my head off right now because everyone knows I'm right dab in the middle of this Cobra project. And if you look at me, I look like I'm 900 years old because I've been spending 90% of my time in this freaking garage. And I can't believe I'm admitting this, but I spent 3 hours trying to drill a hole yesterday.
okay. Explain that. Like, I understand the concept of what drilling a hole.
All
I
I
get
can
that
say is
part.
that's why I want to cut my head off. I can't understand why it took me so long and why I didn't embark upon a different way of going about what I was going about. But let's just say that remember the indentation in the frame where the drive shaft or the yoke actually jumped down and smashed the frame. Remember the
Yeah.
little indentation? Well, first and foremost, we're leaving it there because I think it's a badge of honor. I'm not gonna clean it up. But number two, Manny and I tried to sit and reenact what could have happened to have actually done that, right?
Okay.
And I mean, it's literally 5 inches away from the yoke that actually jumped down there and hit it and made the mark. And I mean, how in God's name did that happen? Right? So we tried to break everything down logically. And at the rear of the frame, the rear end is bolted behind the rear end, the rear frame which holds the the trunk of the Cobra of the replica. Uh,
Yeah.
it 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 they're just two brackets that go straight from the rear housing, not the rear housing, but the rear housing area to the back of the frame of the vehicle itself, right? So it's
Right.
it's structural. It's holding on the rear of the fiberglass. But it also is attached to the other part of the frame. It's welded to another part, but it's bolted in the rear. So, very long story short, we're assuming that we actually were able to catch traction at some point, and the rear end separated, right? And it threw the inertia and the separation. It moved the drive shaft down when we caught traction. That's the only thing we can think of,
Yeah.
right? So to make an extremely long story short, we were going to add another bolt, to further stiffen the rear of the frame, right? And it's a half-inch piece of metal that I have to get through, and it's 3/4 of an inch hole. So I mean, it's a good sized bolt. I broke two bits. I got one bit stuck in the hole. I had to drill that out. Then I didn't put it this way. I should have taken a picture of all the utensils that I used to get that hole actually done.
Yeah.
It took me 3.5 hours to do it. And I destroyed, I went through four batteries on the Milwaukee. I didn't break them, but I literally
Yeah. They were dying. They were dying.
costed all four of them. And I'm embarrassed to say it, but I spent that much time on it. And good Jesus Christ, getting through. I mean, I used step bit. I used the smallest bit I could do in the beginning, and I progressed up. I used step bits. I broke one of those. Man,
Okay. What what kind of rear end is in that car? Is it a live axle? Is it independent? It's a straight axle. right?
Yeah, here. It's a Jag rear end.
Let's take a look at it. Okay, so it's an independent rear end. So it's basically solid mounted. It's got half shafts. So yeah, so like the
That's what I'm
pumpkin there,
talking
the
about.
center section wouldn't normally move,
No, it wouldn't normally.
right? Because like if you had a live axle with leaf springs, it could twist a little bit, and this is more of a solid mounted thing. Yeah. So I see the frame there where it hit. So uh
So I stiffened up the frame by
yeah.
installing that bolt in the middle, right there.
Oh, I see. So you added that bracket that goes to the rear.
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
now you know exactly what I did.
Yeah, yeah. As we're taking a look at it, yeah, kind of odd is does the rear end twist that much with that much power? I mean,
There's only so many, put it this way,
yeah,
there's only so many things it could have been because there's only so many moving parts on the vehicle that are attached,
yeah.
to the rear of the vehicle that could make it do that or allow it to do that, right? So I don't know. That was our best guess. And so
The mounts for the rear end, do they have rubber isolators, or are they solid mounted, or is it like a Delrin or aluminum isolators? Like the pumpkin that's mounted to the frame, how is it mounted? Is there
it's solid mounted.
It's just solid mounted, so full vibration and everything. There's nothing because I was like, if there's a little bit of like rubber isolators and maybe you squished them, you twisted them, and it could hit. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. Yeah, I mean, but that's the only thing we could come up with. And so that was me rectifying the situation. And so
Yeah,
I explain that and show it to you. But just an extremely simple task compared to everything else I've been doing on the car. And, normally what you're going to do, I had to drill a hole. It took me freaking 3 hours.
okay. So now you need new drill bits.
Oh, yeah, Home Depot. Thanks, guys. I was there twice yesterday.
Yeah, you need new drill bits. But I mean, it's good to know that the metal frame is strong. I mean, if it took that much effort to just drill through it, it's
I
not.
didn't work out last night because I got one hell of a workout, trying to shove that. It was it was horrible. I'm so embarrassed that that took me that long. I should have just brought a torch out or something at that point, man. I don't know,
Yeah, right. Just burn a hole through it.
100%.
Okay,
I'm
well, but
so
you
mad.
got it. You got
Yeah,
it, and it's done.
yeah.
And those look, those things happen. It
People don't
sometimes,
understand, when you post a video and say, "Hey, man, next video is coming out. It's going to be the body going back on the frame." But truly, unless you've done this before, you really don't understand what could go wrong. There's one thing right now, again, that we're waiting on so that the body can go back on the frame.
yeah.
And okay, so here we go. A trans-mounted e-brake.
Yeah. So I saw the post because we talked last week about different handles for that. What were you going to do? Try out a couple things, maybe makeshift some stuff to get it where you want before you make something or machine something. But yeah, so what happened on the e-brake? Sort of a
Well,
drift
originally
brake, if you
Clint from
will.
CGC wanted to he wanted to fabricate a carbon fiber mount for it, right? And get all elaborate. But the reality is you're not going to see it. So it doesn't matter what it's going to look like. So at the end of the day, Manny came over and I'm about to post the video because it's an interesting video. But on the TKX, I'm sure similar to other transmissions, there are a number of points that you can go off of. Number of applications that those transmissions are used for, obviously. So there's different mounting points wherever you're applying it. So we have a couple extra points. So we're going to go like Manny did a piece of cardboard, and then he uh, traced that down with on a piece of aluminum, then bent the aluminum and made basically the bracket that we want that he's going to replicate with steel. Really cool placement, easy. Our issue obviously is the size of the tunnel. Because if you mount something directly on that transmission, right, do you have enough room between that transmission, you
Yeah.
know, and the existing tunnel? Because you're not calling for any room prior if you're not mounting something to that. So anyway, long story short, again, we're going to drill another hole vertically. It's on the inset of the shifter, so it's closer to me. It's not on the other side of the box.
Right. Not the passenger side,
It's on my side.
on the driver's side.
Yeah, and
So
it's vertical, so it'll be vertical. It'll be like 4 inches away from the shifter, and
and painting a picture here because you mentioned the transmission, but we're talking about an e-brake. You're making a bracket that comes off of the transmission to mount
using
the e-brake handle because there's nothing
using
else under there to mount to, right? There's no
zero.
other frame pieces, and again, the tunnel is just sheet metal or whatever. So there's nothing really to mount to there. So to
Zero.
to to give it more of a solid mount, because if you're going to do sort of a like a drift style e-brake, you made a bracket that comes off of the transmission. It's next to the shifter of the transmission coming through the tunnel. But and it'll be next to you, in between you and the shifter of the transmission.
Yes.
But you'll be able to shift the car fine. Is it in the
And we did all the measurements. It's like 4 inches away. It's 4 inches closer to me than the shift knob, the
okay?
existing knob. And it's a vertical throw and it's a pull. So you can angle it. So I mean, we can make the bracket. The cool thing is that there are, like I said, there are different mounts on any transmission, so you can come off of any other existing bolt. You just keep your fingers crossed that it's doable. And we'll have a flat steel bracket that'll have all the rigidity needed for me pulling this thing back, and it'll mount off of existing mount bolts with the TKX.
Yeah,
Like I say, we have 3 points, and our biggest issue, the e-brake that we're using is really streamlined. It's really it looks like the mounts for the masters are sideways to give you more room.
yeah.
So you can custom place that thing just about anywhere you can fit it, and I think it's going to be great, man. I think it's going to be great. Manny hopefully should get the bracket done today, tomorrow. We'll get it over here, and then we'll find out the placement for the other hole that we have to drill. And if we have to, we can cut out part of the tunnel and do like a little bubble if we, need a little
Right.
bit of
Yeah.
room on the fiberglass. But these are things that I'm learning that, you know, are a pain in the ass. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of fiberglass work.
Fiberglass work makes you itchy.
Yeah, it sucks. But man, I'm having so much fun. But it is such a pain in the ass in that you get to a point where you think you're about to make a major step, like putting the body back on, but then there's one thing that prohibits you from doing it. And then that one thing, the radiator, we're waiting on the radiator to put the damn thing in.
Yeah.
Radiator gets here, and then we have the shifting issue because I'm not going to put the body on, and I'm not, without considering if the e-brake on the trans would work. And now that we know that it'll work, the car's going to be so much cooler with it, right? So it extends the build for another 4 days or another week, until you put the
Right.
body.
And also keep in mind when you put the body on, plan on doing that like 7 times
Fudge that. No.
because
I don't want to do it 7 times. That's why I'm trying to do almost every single thing that I can do right now before that body goes on. I drilled the holes for the seats, mounted the seats, did Holly was nice enough to throw in some Simpson harnesses, got those put in, and all the little tiny, tiny details of the tiny details. I have 3 more wires to finish up all the wiring, and
okay.
then the dash can go back on. But the dash couldn't go back on because the tab, we broke the tab off, and the riv nut fell out. So we had to put fiberglass and make another tab. And then, it's
More itching, more itching. How did the windshield turn out? How did you guys solve the issue with a little bit of the
That's
gap?
it's still, we have to mount the left side of it. We got two more bolts to affix the thing permanently. I think that it is going to be fine. I mean, there's no daylight coming through.
Okay.
So I think we're going to be good.
Right.
Fingers crossed. So yeah,
Okay.
it's
Well,
one little tiny,
I know it's getting there. It's getting there though.
I have, two bolts that I have to replace here before this. Yeah, it's just one thing after another. But we're good. We're good, man. We're so close. That's why it's so frustrating. But you want to get all the details done before you move to the next step because you know what a pain in the ass it's going to be to pull that body on and off. Although it's only got 6 or 8 bolts to it. But you know, we're there, man. It's so freaking close. It's so close. I mean, I literally could see we're waiting on the steering knuckle, the final knuckle to get the steering column to the shaft because one's spline and one's, the I did it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And so we're waiting for that, but that can be done after the body's on. The only thing we're waiting for is to run the hydraulic line from the e-brake and drill the hole for the e-brake, and we're good. Then the body goes on.
How does the body mount? Is there mounts? Is it solid mount or does that have like isolators or something in between it?
Oh, I mean, it's the only thing it has, but in between it was like prior, they were like, I don't know, like vinyl pieces of tape, right? And
Oh,
so
okay.
I replaced those. That's the old school stuff. It's like on Jeeps, right? It's how the Willys was mounted. I replaced it with, kind of some squishy foam material, right?
Yeah.
It's as basic as you're gonna get.
Yeah. I yes. I mean, it's simpler than a lot of other projects for sure. But look, because of that simplicity, it allows you to give every little thing the attention to detail that it needs, even overkill. Like you were saying, you've been
Absolutely.
changing bolts and polishing and cleaning and painting and coating and every little thing on it. Uh,
Every
and yeah, even when I was doing on my Mach 1 that I had, when we did the carbon fiber hood, we showed it for a little while with just the carbon fiber hood, but I knew that I'd have to put fasteners in the hood. I'd have to do some sort of
Oh
lock
yeah, but
mechanism,
when the
push
people see
button.
the picture, they think it's done.
Yeah,
But then you're like, oh, I showed it, it's done, but it's really not done. It's like the hood pins on
yeah.
my car,
I
right?
so I had to do like the push button hood pins, and so when I did those, the hood's painted right, and I'm taping it off, and I'm drilling through a carbon fiber hood. You've talked about it many times. Nervous, you only get one shot at it, right? So I do that, and I take the paint off. Sorry, take the tape off. I set it in there. I was like, adjust it. Everything fits. And then, so in between, imagine the round, satin black, powder coated or anodized push button hood pin, the two buttons you push. So what I did is then I took a couple pieces of just like over the counter PPF material, and I cut out a circle the size of that pin, and I put it on that hood, and then I cut the hole out in the middle. So when those round discs, if you will, those push button went in there, I made a little bit of PPF that sits in between that and the paint of the hood, just in case every time I close the hood, if they slide just a little bit. And what I didn't want was like around the edges to
I
start
think
to wear off the paint.
and
It came out great. I'm glad I did it.
yeah, I had the benefit of them coming out here and PPFing the entire car,
Yeah.
and holes were already done and they weren't mounted in there. But my problem now is, which is another reason I can't put the body on yet, because the hood's already attached. So the hinges are already, so the hood's already on. So the the push buttons, they have obviously when the hood is closed, you push them and then it bounces up and
Yeah.
you get the distance so you can pull your hood up. My springs aren't taut enough to be able to push it up. So you push the button and it doesn't pop up, right?
Okay.
So what Manny did was he got bolts and then he welded the springs to the bolts and then put a washer on top of the spring. So at the bottom is a bolt, it's welded to a spring. The top washer is welded to that has the diameter large enough for the little hole to go through. So you see where I'm going here? You
Yeah.
close the hood and the spring depresses. Well, the spring's not strong enough. So when you push the hood, it doesn't come up, right? So
Yeah.
we're trying to find, that size and that spring to be that strong enough to be able to push it back
Just to
up.
pop
And
it up a little.
right now you close the hood and it won't open. So we can't put the body on because you can't close the hood to get to the engine compartment. So yeah, it's just a little, yeah, I got them. They're beautiful. I love them. They
Yeah.
work functionally awesome.
So we're just
You
looking
know,
at a picture real quick, but yes. So underneath this, the shape of this has a clear PPF underneath it. Of that's the push pin. So
oh yeah.
so those of you
You should
watching
have
on YouTube can
PPF
see.
the entire car before you put those on.
Yeah, so I didn't do the PPF on the whole car and everything. And when I was mounting those, I just wanted something there. Now I could, anybody could just unscrew them, remove the things, and then PPF the hood if you wanted to do that. Yeah. So there's the spring that you're talking about that pops the hood up because the hood comes down reverse, right? So on the Cobra, the hood comes down and it closes at the windshield, basically at the firewall. It doesn't open forward. So when you close the hood, now a Cobra may have the handles, like when you close the hood and you twist them,
Fudge those.
but it
That's
doesn't
old,
have
that's
that on
old
here.
school. It's cool and all, but functionally and aesthetically, I think it's too old school, and
Yeah.
I'm completely away from that. And I don't like those handles. And in all honesty, those handles don't fricking work because this car is so damn violent, it shakes them loose, and I have to stand up in the fricking car over the windshield and affix them again. So
Yeah.
I
So
think it,
that's exactly my point on when you're developing or building cars like this and modifying this. That may be something you look at aesthetically and go, I like the handles, but then once you finish the car and drive it, you realize the handles don't work. They come loose and whatever. So you need some real world experience in doing it. So, and there's going to be some things that need to be dialed in once the car is done and is on the road. And you're going to realize
that
maybe the suspension, maybe you need to do, if you're the one driving and you're 260 in a little tiny car, 270 in a little tiny car, you may need to add you may need to turn those spring knuckles one or two extra times to accommodate for you mostly being the only person in that car, right?
that's why I was going to put the battery on the other side.
Yeah, yeah, but that's 40 pounds, not 260. But you're
Absolutely.
right. No, you're right though. But you want to start to balance it as much as possible, right?
And then I got to the point, no, well, yeah, you want to balance it as much as possible, but when you're in a car that's as ridiculous as this, 40 pounds ain't going to make a damn bit of difference.
It's not. But you can dial. You have
So
coilovers on it.
I'd rather keep it in its existing spot and make it a little more accessible than drill four more holes and have to fiberglass the four freaking holes that are already existing for it.
Yeah.
So I don't give. I mean, yeah, if I'm going to
Well,
race this thing, I would have moved it. No
also,
doubt.
like here's the advantage of your facility, the garage, the gym. Once you get it sitting on the wheels and tires, and you're setting the ride height and stuff like that, you can grab 250 pounds of weights, put it in the driver's side,
Yeah.
and then dial it in, right? It'll at least get you a little bit closer. Like without even the seats in it, because the seats is basically weigh the same. You have a bit of floor pan area. Even if you put something down there, like cardboard or whatever, you just stack some weights in there and then see what the car looks like. You could step back, you can measure it, you can measure the height, you can go, what does this look like with you in it, right? So you can, and again, in your garage, all of that's there. We don't have to go scrounge.
Exactly.
You don't
And
have to
and
stack it with car batteries and stuff. You have weights and everything you need there.
I mean, it's a multifunctional facility. So yeah, and the good thing is that along this process, to be perfectly honest with you, there's only been one or two times when I needed to go outside the shop to farm out work that I
Yeah.
couldn't, you know.
Yeah.
It's been freaking awesome. Mike Kidd at Tremic and Dakota Digital and Ron Francis and all these. Hey guys, I a million apologies. These days, when you give products out, people immediately are able to install them and give them, the trade. Man, I remember talking to who's your buddy at Dakota Digital?
Uh, I was thinking Randy for some reason, but I forgot. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot the.
He was one of the first guys I contacted with this,
Yeah,
and they sent the gauges out. Man, the turnaround was unbelievable. It was quick,
Scott.
and
It was Scott.
Scott, and
Yeah,
thank you, Scott. Sorry, I forgot your name. I've been hitting
I
it
was
today.
drawing a blank too. Sorry.
But it seems like 2 years ago I got stuff from it. Probably was 2 years ago, but now it's coming to fruition, and now it's finally going to happen. And so I've been going back and forth with Kid, and I asked him about mounting the e-brake on the trans and if I was going to jeopardize anything.
Yeah.
And he's been great, man. But I cannot wait to forget about me and my excitement. I just can't wait to deliver for all these guys who were nice enough to help me out in this project. It's so much fun.
Well, it's you work on drilling a hole for 3 hours, but if you would have ended the day and not been able to at least finish it, that's where for me, I'm up all night going, what is happening over there?
That's why I was here till 2 o'clock in the
You got to
morning.
finish it. You got to
Yes,
finish it.
yeah, Manny was here 2 days ago, and like I say, it's Manny's got a 9 to 5. He's running his own shop. I'm not going to move this to his shop, so for convenience, it's here, and I'm greatly appreciative of any time that he has that he can stop by. But it's random; we don't know exactly when it is.
Yeah.
So when he's here, I have to take advantage of it. I didn't eat all day until dinner Monday because he was here, and I wanted to take advantage of his expertise, right? And so I'm trying to get as many things done. We strike 5 things off the list, and
Good.
that's very empowering. But to your point, on that list was the bolt, and we didn't strike that off. And I'm like, "Ugh, it's such an easy thing to do. Why am I not doing it?" And I embarked upon it last night, and now I know why Manny was like, "Yeah, just do the whole." And I was like, you know what? Easy. I'll do it. It'll be done. Man, yeah, pain in the ass. And I know I could have done it in 15 minutes if I was smart. But I wanted to take my time. It was very uh, important,
Yeah.
and it's a big ass bolt, man, and going through half inch, that sucks. It's
Yeah.
freaking, but it's all
All
good.
right. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, so this was kind of interesting. I don't know if you saw this in the news, but there's a there's a guy that had an F1 car, I guess a Ferrari F1 car, and he would put on his racing suit and put on his helmet, and he would tear up the streets, the Czech motorways for the last 6 years. He would occasionally bring this thing out and just run havoc on the streets. It sounds awesome, but it also sounds like something you just see in a movie. But they finally caught up with him. This is the silly part is I guess he stopped to get gas. So he's driving this F1 car on the streets, blowing through traffic and passing people, and got away with it for the longest time. And they finally tracked him down from a gas station, I guess. Here's a picture of him at a gas station because everyone just takes photos, right? You hear this car, you see this car, this is going nuts. It's been all over YouTube. It's been all over the place. Um,
Great advertisement for Shell.
right? And for Ferrari. And
Right.
uh, I don't know, just I eventually he got caught. And then when they caught him, because they like tracked him down to his house, he was like throwing a fit. He's like, "You can't be here. This is private property." They're like, "Buddy, like enough's enough. You got away with it for 6 years, driving your F1 car on the streets. You know you were gonna get in trouble. Like, what here we are. You're finally you're busted. Like, what do you want? What do you want to happen here?" So yeah, so he's busted. I don't know that they took the car away. I don't know what the rules are out there. Um, uh, I'm sure he's getting a ticket. I don't know if he's getting arrested. They're trying to figure out what did he really do, and they're like, I guess you just drove a vehicle that's not legal. It's not street legal. So
That and he probably, well, yeah, I mean, I'm
you know what
sure.
I'm saying? Like no license plates, no like you can start to
No
rack up the
bumper,
fine. No
no.
license plates, no
You have
bumpers,
to
no
have
lights, no
you have to
signals.
have fenders. Yeah, there's so many different things that he could have got nailed, but just put that on top of anything else they wanted to add to it, reckless driving, obviously speeding. I mean, my God, this guy, you throw the book at the guy. But,
Yeah.
in this day and age, does it surprise you? No, it doesn't surprise me.
No, but funny because he was like mad that he got caught. It's like, come on.
He's a douchebag. If
It's
you're if
like you kind of like, yeah, you got me.
people are pissed off why you did what you did, then you're an ignoramus.
um, I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing, kind of a funny thing there. I don't know if you saw this. So a Ken Block vehicle is coming up for sale. RM Sotheby's has it in one of their sealed auctions, meaning you can bid on it, but it's not a public auction. It's the '78 Porsche 911 SC that he built for the Safari for the East African Safari Classic Rally. And then somebody brought it out. I forgot who drove it recently at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. Anyway, cool car, badass car. Some Ken Block car. He raced it, finished 19th overall. I think did well throughout the race. An actual Ken Block racing car, even though it was run in a classic series. I think it looks cool. I like the whole safari thing. Now, comes up quite a few times. I talk to guys like Adam Kroll about it as well. Is sometimes you'll see things that pop up at auction, like Billy Joel's Corvette, or something like that, and
Or Goldberg's Demon.
well, it's different because you're a car guy and you've been in the space, right? You get a guy like Billy Joel, not really known for a car guy. He's actually a big motorcycle guy, but it's just sort of an example. A Paul McCartney, or an Elvis Cadillac or something like that comes up for auction. Is is the car worth a lot more because of the celebrity? But does the guy have to be a car guy? Has to be known for a car, or does that fall more into Hollywood memorabilia? And is the car any good? Is it just like a stock Cadillac? And we've seen many times where the celebrity factor didn't really move the needle much. But I think on these Ken Block cars, this is different. Ken Block's celebrity is mostly, not entirely, around automotive, right? I mean, he's got DC shoes. He did DC shoes and the Gymkhana stuff, which is automotive, but he was a racing career, and this is a real racing car. This is kind of like the modern day version of like Adam buying Paul Newman racing cars. Paul Newman had a 40-year racing career,
I think
or
I think it is, and it's not, speaking from the space,
yeah,
I think every single one of them have to be looked at with a fine tooth comb. I do, and every one of them has a story, and every one of them has a value based upon finite information, right? So what I'm saying is that with a guy like Ken Block and anything that he actually raced, that's where his expertise is. So if you're buying a vehicle, then that makes it so much more valuable because what you're buying is a top example of what it is. I would think.
I agree. I think this car is worth something. I think what they're asking. So the estimate is 450,000 to 650,000. I think potentially the Ken Block vehicles, the racing vehicles, the the Gymkhana vehicles. Look, if he drove around Utah in a BMW 7 Series and that came up for auction, I get it. It's a 7 Series. It's Ken Blocks. Does it do anything for me as a collectible? No, it doesn't. But
But for a fan, it might do wonders,
it might.
right? But looking at the vehicle itself, the finite specifications of the vehicle, a person like you or I would look at that value based upon the vehicle. Obviously, the prominence plays a part, but at the end of the day, I mean, if it's just a stock, Porsche 911 that they gave Ken to drive around that looked like his race car,
Yeah.
then the value's nothing compared to the actual race car.
I agree completely. If they just stickered up a stock 911 and said, "Here, do some laps around it," not quite the same. And we've been down that road too with Adam's collection of the Newman cars. Somebody was selling like a Ferrari, and he's like, "He drove this thing at the so and so track." I'm like, "Yeah, but he like walked up and he drove it, and you took a picture, and then he went home. Like it wasn't his car by any means. It wasn't campaigned by him, but." This car I like. I think this car is cool. I think this car could be driven again. I think you could do another classic rally in it, or you can just have it as part of the collection. But I think it's a cool piece, and I always liked Ken Block, and I think this is it's not inexpensive, but I think it's a cool piece of history to have. I say history, sort of a modern day history, the storytelling that Ken Block is and what he was able to do. But anyway,
That
I like the car. I think it's cool.
sold, look at when it's being sold. I mean, he
Yeah.
didn't have, he passed away quite recently. And so you're going to take advantage of the people who were most positively affected immediately by what Ken Block did, as opposed to 20 years down the road when less people it would be valuable to less people because it's further away from his being in the wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Every single one of them has its own a Reggie Jackson car.
Yeah.
Everyone is different.
And Reggie
Cena
Jackson,
car and a Goldberg car. Cena's, the world-renowned movie star, but does he drive his cars like I do? And does he hold his cars in the standard that I hold my cars? So a car might be more valuable to somebody out of Cena's collection because of who Cena is and his public persona, but getting down to the car itself, it might be more valuable to get one out of my collection because
I agree with that though. I think in the car world, you want to, if you're trying to create value from the previous owner, you want the previous owner to be a real automotive enthusiast. And I'm not picking on Cena, but it's like,
I'm not
listen,
either.
like Paris Hilton has a bunch of cars, but she's not known as a car person. Buying a pink Bentley from Paris Hilton doesn't really do anything for me. Maybe in the memorabilia world, the Hollywood memorabilia world, there's a fan or somebody that's like, I think that's interesting. I like it, but there's nothing really unique about it other than maybe she did a video or something with it, or did like a MTV Cribs and saw a pink
President
Bentley in the background.
Trump's President Trump's car that went at Barrett Jackson
Yeah,
with
the
the
Diablo.
Barrett Jackson, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how many times do you think Trump actually drove that car? Do you think he drove the shit out of it? I mean,
Yeah, you're right. And there's other things I think that are more interesting to collect from a person like that than his Diablo. I mean, and it went for big money too. I think you could just get a Diablo and save some money.
buy something else in the presidential realm that, was collectible as opposed to buying a vehicle that President Trump had. It's six
Yeah.
one, half dozen the other. It just depends on what it means to you. That's all.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this came up a few times over the years. We've talked about the Paul Newman racing suits. Like the Adam has a few of the racing suits and helmets. And we even talked to somebody at one point and said, what do you think these suits are worth? And the appraiser was a little confused, going, I don't know. Is this automotive memorabilia that somebody like an RM or a Gooding would try to evaluate? Or is this going to one of the Hollywood memorabilia auctions that we don't really hear much about because we're out of that circle?
But for
And
him, the beauty of that is that it could go to any of them.
it could go to either one. And interesting in that if you did an appraisal from either side of that fence, you get a different number.
At 100%. And it's looked upon completely differently than if a celebrity did the Toyota Long Beach Grand Prix and took the suit from there, and they were a big celebrity and they drove, compared to Paul Newman and him driving.
Yes. So a Newman suit this came up because a Newman suit was just on Bring a Trailer. And a museum, I guess, owned it. They were selling it to benefit the museum. So it was a nonprofit. So technically a charity write-off. And charity stuff usually goes a little bit on the higher end. But this is the first time like a Newman suit like this has gone for auction in quite some time. And it was one of those things where like he was invited to do an event. They gave him the suit. He wore it for the day, documented, fine, whatever. And that's it. And it sold for $27,500. Good price. But then I got on the phone with Adam and he was like, I don't know, stuck in an airport in Texas, someplace like that, traveling as he does on the weekends. And I said, hey, I know you're traveling. We looked 2 hours ago. The Newman suit was $5,000. It went into overtime on Bring a Trailer. Got 27.5. He's like, oh, well, that's great. I go, but let's think about this for a second. What does it do to your Newman suits? Because your Newman suits were the ones that he raced the full season.
Again, I think it's apples to oranges.
Yeah.
I truly do, because the people that know that difference. The other people for the memorabilia may not delve into that, and it might not make a difference. But to me, there's no way I'd buy a suit that was just signed by Paul Newman.
Yeah.
Unless he wore it in a significant race, not a Toyota Long Beach Grand Prix. Because for me, as the car guy, I know how special those things are and how cool it is to have a high level Hollywood superstar racing cars.
Yeah.
And being good, So I mean, yeah, it's apples to oranges.
Interesting you said that because this one of the racing suits that we got because Newman had several because he raced for a long time, and we were trying to piece together like which suits for which season, which era, because they're mostly blue. So you look at the patches and you look at whatever, and then we saw a number of pictures. This was interesting. One of Adam's suits, there was a hole like in the chest, like under the where like if you got like a chest pocket like area, like under one of the patch, there was a hole. We kept thinking like, why is the hole? What happened? Did it snag? Did it hit the harness belt or whatever? And as we started going through the pictures and figuring out which seasons, which race suits, we saw that Newman, when he wore the headset, he ran the wire up through that hole.
See, you care about that, and that's freaking awesome.
And we got all the documentation to show it.
Paid more money for that.
Yes.
Whereas someone who just knows him as an actor goes, there's a hole in there. I don't want that one. Right? Can I give you a great analogy that explains it the same way? The lawman.
Yeah.
So when we were restoring the law, when Aunt Marcus was doing the lawman, he asked about the dash. And there's a story behind the dash. On the dash, there's a sun tack sticker, right?
Yeah.
There's a story behind that because the sun tack sticker is covering up a hole where the dash caught on fire when they were when they were restoring it. I think it was 89 or I don't know when it was. But that's the story. And he didn't want to, nor did I want him to change it, right? Because it's like the dent on the frame on the Cobra.
Yeah, yeah. Wait, when you restored it, did you leave the hole or did you put the sticker
Hell
on?
Yeah. We left that area exactly how it was. We didn't rip complicated. We just left it exactly so it's the burnt mark in the dash itself, the rubber in the dash is still underneath the sticker.
Okay,
The,
so you guys still did the sticker. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so we were looking at that. We looked at the whole. We matched it up to a bunch of the pictures, and we realized it was a full race season. He raced this thing a lot, and this was the. We looked at some of the other racing suits. He did things differently, and then he would take a Sharpie and like write his blood type on the inside collar. You
That's
know?
those are
Yeah.
killer.
And
That's
yeah.
why you bought one that he wore as opposed to one that he signed.
Yes. And now when Adam was moving everything around, I'm like, these things are gonna walk away. So just so they don't,
Okay,
let's move them all into the safe. Let's put them all in the safe and keep them there until
absolutely.
we figure out where we're gonna display them. Now they're I think they're in the museum in Reno with the car collection. But
So, but my question is, comparatively to the one on Bring a Trailer that
yeah.
went, what does he think one of his is worth?
Well, we didn't really get into that because he just missed the flight and he was grumpy and upset a little.
Understood. But
Yeah.
knowing what you know, what do you think the value is compared to the one that just sold?
I
I'm not talking about what do you think it would go for. I'm talking about based upon the amount of money that the other one sold for and knowing exactly what it was, comparing
I
it to what you guys have and knowing what you have, where would you place the value if
I
you
would
were the one appraising it?
I would appraise it at about 80 to 100 grand.
See?
Yeah. If it was me, that's where I'd be on that. Because it is his suit and it's so well documented. And we've got more than one. I think we've got two and we've got like three of the helmets. And listen, one of the helmets, which was later in his career, he started doing like this space theme galaxy stars and stuff. Cool helmet, but not the one that was photographed the most. So I look at that helmet and go, that's a cool helmet. It's more rare than the other ones, but I don't think it's as worth as much because the other ones are so well documented and they're so worn
To
and
you, as opposed to someone who collects helmets and knows the number that were manufactured, and to them, it may be worth more money, right? So
yeah.
again, it's tough to really be objective or and place a value on something without.
But look, over time with the auctions, because there's no real direct comps on a lot of these things on the racing car stuff. But you got to look and go, listen, over time, the better a Steve McQueen suit or a Michael Schumacher suit or you know any of those, the better those do at auctions over the years, the better overall. I think things like this. It's not a direct comparison, but
It's the market, right? I mean, as one goes, the others follow.
yeah,
You know, look at where customs are now compared to where they were 20 years ago. You couldn't sell one for shit. And
yeah.
it cost 20 times what they were getting, to sell one and or to build one. And now people are smart enough to know that they get what they pay for, right? You want a great
Yes.
product, you're gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah, and the older ones too, seeing like older like Boyd Coddington cars and stuff come up at auction and starting to get the money that they deserve.
As they should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it takes a while. Adam and I looked at this a while ago and we're like, Steve McQueen stuff didn't really start to pop till 30 years after he was gone. So it's not
But it's all
overnight.
Yeah, but again, it's all completely dependent upon the person and the item and the person standing. It's everything is completely dependent upon each individual circumstance, I believe. You know,
Yeah. All right. I think we're gonna wrap things up for today.
I need to get back on the Cobra, man.
Gotta be, yeah, you're getting closer, getting
I
closer.
have
Radiator
so
body.
I'm in my office. The Cobra's 50 feet away from me,
Yeah.
and I have a crawler. Viper chair has one of
Yeah.
those crawlers. That's how I make it from my office.
You
I
gotta
just
wheel
sleep.
yourself around.
I just sleep in between.
Wheel yourself around. All right. Yeah. So listen, looking forward to the videos as well because we've been talking about it for a while. We got to get some visuals now with it. And I know it can get frustrating and time consuming to go. I just spent 3 hours drilling a hole. I should have been also posting videos of stuff, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm Mr. Multitasker now, but now I'm ecstatic that I'm able to have a little bit of time and get this thing finally buttoned up and go out
Yeah.
and have.
All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week. And until then, keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.
Boom.